Alex Brasky, Nate Ryder here for the Batavia Daily News, welcoming our Coaches of the Year and our Athletes of the Year. Nate, a fantastic 2018-2019 high school sports season filled with many great athletes, many great teams that reached the championship level. What's your overall reflection of this year and these athletes and coaches we're about to welcome in today?
Well, first of all, for the Glow athletes, I mean, you got a pair of four-year varsity players in 3 different sports. I mean, you don't see that very much at all. I think Ryann was even in 8th grade on a couple of them. And you like to try to reward those players that do these things all year round, not just a good season or two. And obviously, Coach, the same thing. We got, Coach who excelled in a pair of sports, and these guys. They kind of exemplify the best of the best and what they're able to do.
All right, so let's get right to it. We'll welcome in our Coach of the Year for the Batavia Daily News, Mr. Ron Funky. Brought the Pembroke softball team and the Pembroke girls basketball team to the sectional final, winning it in the basketball. Coach, you've had plenty of success over the years, but this year seemed to be a little bit more special with that girls basketball team. Just give us a few thoughts on how special this season was to you on the hardwood.
Well, it was unexpected, really. We had a decent regular season, and then we just caught fire in sectionals, and the kids started to gel and believed in themselves, and the outcome was what it was, and it was something else.
Coach, you go through so much work with both these teams, and it's a year-long thing, and how rewarding is it to see these girls succeed, not only in one sport, but a lot of them did it in both sports, and, some girls don't get to do that at all, and they do it the same year. How rewarding is that to see these girls and what they're able to accomplish?
Well, if you could see the work that they put in off-season and during the season, it's rewarded that way. They're great kids, both in the classroom and on the court and on the field, and, they deserve everything they got.
The one thing I like about Pembroke is it's kind of out in the middle of nowhere. They're on the edge of Section 5, but not really Section 6, and nobody kind of notices you guys. And here you come, you win a sectional basketball title and get there in the softball finals. What does that mean for the school and for the programs?
Well, the school sits out by itself, and that's the center of the community, really. And, I think it means a lot because when we left for sectionals, we had a fire truck parade that sent us out of town, and when we came back from sectionals, they were waiting for us again to bring us back into school. So, they take a lot of pride in what we accomplish, I think, too.
Now, Coach, like I said before, sectional championship representatives in 2 different sports, kind of with the same group of girls, a young group of girls, though. You got a lot of them coming back next year and beyond. What are you looking forward to out of that bunch as their careers progress to their senior year here?
Well, I think the pressure's on. They know it. It's hard to duplicate. You never know what next year's going to bring. They know that. So they're ready to get to work, and, the experiences they had this year, I think are going to carry them through that hard work because they know what it's worth.
Now, final question, Coach. You've been in it a long time, both softball, girls basketball, you've coached boys basketball. How exciting is it each year to get that new crop of student athletes and see them succeed at the highest level?
I don't know if exciting is the word. What word am I?
Maybe satisfying or.
Yeah. It's nice to see the kids when they start, and then where they end up, where they finish, and what they do to get there.
Yep.
And, the relationships you build along the way, that's the gratifying part.
That's the word I was looking for, Coach, gratifying. Well, congratulations, Coach Ron Funky, our Daily News Coach of the Year for 2019.
Thank you.
So thanks a lot, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, so we'll bring in our next recipient, our Boys Athlete of the Year, Reese Tresckow, and we'll start with Nate here.
Perfect. Congratulations, Reese. Got a stool? So we got Reese Tresckow here from Leroy, 3-sport athlete, 4-year varsity athlete, baseball, basketball, football. First thing, Reese, I got to ask you is, it seems like yesterday I was just watching you play Little League, and here you are graduating high school. Can you imagine how just how fast this whole thing's gone?
It's been a blur for me. I can remember playing against Ryann in Little League, and it feels like yesterday. And I mean, countless AAU games, summer league games, and everything, and it was a good ride.
Not a lot of kids are able to do what you did, and like I said, a 4-year varsity athlete in 3 different sports. What did that mean to you to be able to accomplish that?
It's really humbling because I know there's so many great athletes that come through Leroy, and I was honored when every coach asked me to play up and stuff. I got to learn a lot from a lot of the older guys, and I hope I can become one of them.
Now, you won a sectional title, 2 sectional titles, on the baseball diamond. Probably the biggest team accomplishment you had during your 4 years, if I'm not mistaken. But how much will you take away from those championship runs as you progress to the later stages of your life here?
I feel like I've gotten it from both experiences. One being kind of a young kid on the team, and then the next being one of the main leaders. So I feel like now that I have both of those under my belt, I'll be able to excel whether I'm a veteran at something or the new guy.
Now, Leroy, great tradition, athletic tradition there. Football, obviously, everybody knows about that, but it's really starting to grow here in all sports. Softball team's really coming along, as I said before, the baseball team, and even the basketball teams. But how and the track program? Don't forget the track program. But how exciting is it to be like a part of maybe the golden age, or going into the golden age of an entire athletic program at Leroy?
It's nice to be a part of a group of a few grades that have a lot of 3-sport athletes. I think that helps because it helps every part of their skill set, and I feel like everyone really wants it. They all play together, and a lot of good friendships come along, and just makes us better teams.
Reese, obviously you didn't have the success on football field as you probably would have liked to, and in basketball you were close. You guys are almost there. How important was it this year for you in your last high school season, last high school sport, to go out a champion?
It was huge. That team has been kind of our team, summer league and everything ever since I was in 3rd grade. So we had high expectations at the beginning of the year, but we just set goals as the season went on, and we ended where we did, and I couldn't be happier about it.
All right, thanks a lot, Reese.
Thank you very
Appreciate it. Congratulations, Reese Tresckow from Leroy, our High School Boys Athlete of the Year 2019 at the Daily News. Last but not least, we'll welcome in our Girls High School Athlete of the Year, Ryann Stefaniak of Batavia. Thanks for joining us today, Ryann.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so another 3-sport athlete here. Played largely into the decision to name you our Girls High School Athlete of the Year. Basketball seemed to be your top sport. You just missed that sectional title this year, but looking back on your career, you did win 1 sectional title earlier with Tiara Filbert and Madison McCulley in that team. How satisfied are you with your basketball career?
It's kind of crazy to think that it's all over, but I'm pretty satisfied with it because I've learned a lot through the years, and just from different coaching and different players that I've been playing with, and I've grown so much as a person and as a player, so I'm pretty satisfied.
Your older sister, for the most part, was a 3-sport athlete, and what did that mean to you to be a 3-sport athlete, and how important was that to you to excel in 3 different sports?
It definitely was a huge part of my career because I feel like it's more important to be like an all-around athlete than just focus on one sport. You definitely learn more, and you definitely get different skill sets from different sports, so I think it's huge.
Now, obviously, athletics a huge part of your life in high school. You will be moving on to Nazareth to continue your athletic career. But how much will you miss being able to play all 3 sports season after season?
I will miss it a lot because I always like transitioning from one sport to the next and the different group of friends that are part of each sport. And I will miss it because I love basketball, but I always love playing all 3 sports. So,
obviously, you look back and you would have liked to have another sectional championship basketball, and I think softball might stick with you the most because you guys were so close so many different times, and how disappointing is that? But how did it also kind of teach you kind of a life lesson going forward? Coming so close and coming so just up short.
Well, it is really disappointing, but at the same time, you learn a lot from it. Like, it's not all about winning. There's a lot that we can take away from it. And as far as the younger players on the basketball and softball team, they could take away from it to try to get a patch next year, hopefully. So you just keep trying, never give up.
All right, thanks a lot, Ryann, our high school girls athlete of the year. Thank you. Ryann Stefaniak of Batavia. So, Nate, that wraps up our awards here for the Daily News. Let me just get your final thoughts. As I said before, just a fantastic season all around. Several championships in several different sports. What are you looking forward to as the next crop of athletes comes through in this region?
Well, I mean, you look at some of these, and the first thing that comes to mind is I looked at the GR Baseball All-Stars, and I think 10 or 11 of them were underclassmen. So we have a lot of good athletes. Coach Funky has a phenomenal softball player on his team, and you know, you look at some of these, and you even look at Reese is leaving behind at Leroy. You know, they're going to want to get that football back going. They're going to that basketball get a little bit closer to where they want to be, and you know, every year has something different.
All right, Alex Brasky, Nate Ryder, the Batavia Daily News. We'd like to thank Coach Ron Funky, Reese Tresckow, and Ryann Stefaniak, our award winners for the 2019 high school sports season.